Hey, what is going on, guys? Thanks for checking out this video of my sports Gematria. In this video, I'm going to go over the NBA games for Saturday, December 18th, 2021. I'm going to show you highlights of each side, and it's going to be up to you to determine who you think will win based on the numbers. I encourage you to add additional information on top of this if needed for you to feel confident in your own pick. And if for some reason you're curious to know I'm picking these games, you have to join my Patreon. My picks are always in writing, underlined, and italicized. For more information on that, please read the description of this video. I wish you guys the best luck in your picks today. Let's go ahead and get to the games. We're going to be looking at all the games. So Rockets and the Pistons, Knicks and the Celtics, Magic and the Nets, Warriors versus the Raptors, ClippersThunder, Cavs versus the Bucks, and ending it with the Wizards and Jazz. On this side of the screen is what I call my daily numbers, date numerology, Gregorian Hebrew calendar. And then on this side of the screen is what I call my game numbers specific to the game. The way that it's structured here is I have the road team, the away team up top, their season record, their coach's record, any other notes I want to add. In the middle is the head-to-head records between the two teams, all time, regular season, and for this season in particular. And then at the bottom is the home team, their season record, their coach's record, and any other notes I want to add for the game. This one's an early game. Early morning game. We'll start with the Rockets and the Pistons. I'm going to show you some numbers for the Pistons to win this game, and then I'm going to go over some numbers for the Rockets to win this game. I'm not going to be too long on these games because there's a handful here, and I don't want to make this like a super long video for you guys because it will get boring. But I'm just going to show you some highlights on each one and quickly go through this. So for the Pistons to win this game, that's going to come down for Rockets getting their 21st loss for the season and their coach's 102nd regular season game. 21, if you write out 21, the number 21, it sums to 102. And so the Rockets, they can get their 21st loss for the season and their 102nd, and their coach's 102nd regular season game for his career. The Rockets would become 2-14 for a road record with a loss. Today with 35, date numerology on the Gregorian, 35 sums to 142. 142 is just an anagram of 214. It's also the 14th day of the Hebrew month, a day leaving 104 left in the Hebrew religious side of the calendar. And 14, if you spell it out, sums to 104. And get their 14th road loss, become 214. 21st loss, and their coach's 102nd game. 21 sums to 102. Pistons, they could sweep the Rockets for the season 2-0, head-to-head like 20. Today with 71 date numerology on the Gregorian. 71 is the 20th prime number. And it is a day leaving 13 left in the Gregorian year. And this could be a day that Pistons in their 13-game losing streak. They would become 5-23 for a season record with the win. 5-23 mathematically is the 99th prime number. And if we pop in the number 99, we see that it sums to 129. And that's kind of what the Rockets would be. They would become 9-21 for a season record. 921 is just an anagram of 129. Emphasis on the 9 and 99. 523, the 99th prime. For Rockets to win this game, it's the 103rd day of the Hebrew civil year. 103 is the 27th prime number. Rockets coach, he can get his 27th win regular season for his career. In doing so, the Pistons, they would get their 24th loss for the season. And if we write out the number 24, 24 sums to 103. It being the 103rd day of the Hebrew civil, 103 the 27th prime. This is the Pistons' 14th home game. It's the 14th day on the Hebrew month, a day leaving 104 left. Of course, we know 14 spells 104. And the Pistons could get their 14th, not their 104th, but they can get their 14th loss in a row in their 14th home game. And then the Pistons coach, he would get his 163rd regular season loss as a coach for the Pistons on a day with 163 date numerology on the Hebrew religious, a day leaving 104 left, 14th day of the current Hebrew month. 14th loss in a row, 163rd loss as a coach for Pistons. 14th home game, get their 24th loss, 24 sums to 103, 103rd day of the Hebrew Civil. Rockets coach gets his 27th win, 103 the 27th prime. This is the second and last head-to-head matchup between these two, so if Rockets were going to get their revenge, it would be right here in this game on the revenge narrative. Alright, so let's move into the next one, Knicks versus the Celtics. I didn't have a whole lot marked here. I'm not seeing a whole lot offhand, but I'll just go over what I do have marked. And we'll start with the home team, and then of course we'll go to the away team. If the home team was going to win this game, the Celtics, they could become 8-5 at home for a season record like 85. If we write out 85, it sums to 116, and it sums to 46. And today has 51 date numerology on the Gregorian. 51 sums to 46 and 116. A little bit of similarities there. Could play in the favor for the Celtics. This is the second head-to-head matchup between these two teams for the season. Celtics, they lost the first match, so this could be a revenge narrative for Celtics. They can go 1-1 head-to-head against the Knicks with the win. Knicks would get their 17th loss for the season. Today does have 17 date numerology on the Gregorian. And that's just kind of what I have right now for the Celtics. Not a whole lot there. For the Knicks, same thing. There's not a whole lot here. If the Knicks were going to win this game, you can say they up the series 2-0 head-to-head against the Celtics, like 20. Today, 71 date numerology on the Gregorian. 71 is the 20th prime number. Knicks, they can get their 14th win for the season on the 14th day of the Hebrew month. A day leaving 104 left, and we know the number 14 spells out, sums to 104. Knicks would sit on 16 losses for the season with a win, and if they were to sit on 16 losses with a win, the number 16 sums to 96, and the Knicks would become 9-6 for a road record with a win as they sit on 16 losses for the season. So just a few things there, not a whole lot. Celtics would get their 16th loss for the season to go with, but yeah, not a whole lot there to work with. Just a few things. Let's go on to the Magic and the Nets. Start with the home team. If the Nets were to win this game, this is their 30th game of the season. They could become 3-0, like 30 head-to-head against the Magic for the season with a win. They would pick up their 56th all-time head-to-head win against the Magic. Today with 35 date numerology on the Gregorian. 35 spelt out, sums to 56. The Nets, they could become 11-5, like 115. They could become 11-5 at home for a season record with the win, as they get their 5th win in a row, while Magic get their 8th loss in a row. So 5th win in a row, 8th loss in a row, 5-8, 58. If you write out the number 58, it sums to 115. And that's what the Nets could become, 11-5 at home for this season as they get their 5th win in a row. Magic get their 8th loss in a row, like 58. 58 sums to 115. It's also a day with 163 date numerology on the Hebrew religious, and Magic could become 316 for a road record with a loss. 316 is just an anagram of 163. If Magic were going to win this game, it's going to be very similar to if Rockets were going to lose this game. There'd be some similarities, meaning Nets, they would sit on 21 wins for the season in their coach's 102nd regular season game. And I showed you that 21 sums to 102. So that could go against the Nets. They would sit on that 21 in their coach's 102nd game. On top of that, the Nets would become 2-1, like 21, head-to-head against the Magic for the season with the loss. So they would become 2-1. They would sit on that 21, 102nd regular season game. 21 sums to 102. today does have 106 date numerology on the Hebrew religious, and the Nets could become 10-6, like 106 for a home record with a loss. Magic, they would become 6-25 for a season record with a win, and 625 does have number properties. It has a square root of 25. 25 times 25 sums to 625. Now, well, I think that's about it for this game. Let's keep it moving. Let's not take too much longer. Forgive my stuttering. All right, Warriors and Raptors. Let's start with the home team. If the Raptors were going to win this game, they would get their 14th win on the 14th day of the Hebrew month, the day with 104 left in the Hebrew religious year. The number 14 spelled out sums to 104. The Warriors would become 10-4 for a road record with a loss. The Raptors, they can get revenge for the season and become 1-1 head-to-head against the Warriors in their last head-to-head match for the current season. And Raptors would pick up their 20th regular season head-to-head win against Warriors to go with 71 date numerology on the Gregorian. 71 mathematically is the 20th prime number. Warriors coach would sit on 400 wins regular season with the loss, and 400 has a square root of 20. The Raptors coach, he would sit on 103 regular season losses for his career with the win on the 103rd day of the Hebrew civil calendar. So those would be some numbers for Raptors to win this game. If the Warriors were going to win this game, it's the Warriors' 30th game for the season. Their star player, Steph Curry, he wears the number 30. They could become 11-3, like 113, for a road record with a win. 113 is the 30th prime number. And this is the 50th regular season head-to-head matchup between these two teams. 50 sums to 30. Could be a favorite to the number 30. Warriors, they could sweep the Raptors for the season, 2-0. Head-to-head like 20. Today was 71 date numerology on the Gregorian, 71 the 20th prime number. It's the Raptors coach's 255th regular season game. That's what the Warriors' record could become, 25-5, like 255 with a win. And Raptors coach, he can get his 104th regular season loss for his career on a day leaving 104 left for the Hebrew religious, as the Warriors coach gets his 401st win, which is just a reflection of 104. So that would be those numbers there. Let's go on to the Clippers and the Thunder. If the home team Thunder was going to win this game, they would become 9-19 for a season record with the win on a day with 157 date numerology for the Hebrew civil. 9-19 mathematically is the 157th prime number. It's the 14th day of the 4th month on the Hebrew civil calendar, like 144, and Thunder would get their 144th all-time head-to-head win against the Clippers as they become 9-19. 14-4 date numerology, or 14-4 date, and then 157 date numerology. Also has 100 date numerology on the Hebrew civil, and it's the Thunder's coach's 100th regular season game where he can get his 31st win for his career. 14-4, 31 date numerology, 100 date numerology, 157. So if Thunder was going to win this game, they would definitely have to credit it to the Hebrew civil calendar. They get their 144th all-time, become 9-19, the 157th prime. Their coach's 100th regular season game where he can get his 31st win. 31, 100, 157, 14-4. Thunder, they can get revenge against the Clippers for the season and even the score 1-1 head-to-head against the Clippers, like an 11. 31 is the 11th prime. Thunder's coach can get that 31st win. It is the Clippers' 11th away game for the season, so that could go against them. Clippers would get their 14th loss for the season. It is the 14th day of the Hebrew. A day leaving 104 left in the Hebrew religious side. 14 sums to 104. And then the Clippers coach, he can get his 39th regular season loss as a coach for the Clippers on a day with 35 date numerology. And mathematically, the number 39 and the number 35 are identical in all 4 base ciphers. 39, 35, identical. For the Clippers to win this game, it could be as easy as today being a day with 17 date numerology on the Gregorian, a day with 13 left in the Gregorian year. Clippers become 17-13 for a season record. Easy peasy. 35 at date numerology on the Gregorian, 35 sums to 56. They become 5-6 for a road record with a win, easy peasy. 71 date numerology on the Gregorian, 71 the 20th prime number. Thunder gets their 20th loss for the season. Clippers become 2-0, like 20 head-to-head against the Thunder for the season with a win. Clippers coach, he can sit on 121 regular season losses for his career with a win. 121 has a square root of 11. Clippers 11th game on the road. Thunder can get their 11th home loss for the season. Tough game to call. Both sides have really good numbers, I think. Tough game. Cavs versus the Bucks. So we'll start with the home team. If the Bucks were going to win this game, they would get their 20th win for the season as they become 2-0 head-to-head against the Cavaliers for the season with the win on a day with 71 date numerology for the Gregorian, 71 the 20th prime number. It's a day leaving 13 left in the Gregorian year. Cavaliers would get their 13th loss for the season as their coach sits on 45 wins regular season for his career with the loss. The number 13 spelled out sums to 45. Cavaliers coach, he would get his 200th regular season loss for his career. 200 spelled out sums to 51. Today with 51 date numerology on the Gregorian. And I think that's it. I didn't see much for the Bucks coach. You know, the Bucks coach, he can get his 182nd regular season win as a coach for the Bucks. It is a day leaving 281 left on the Hebrew civil year. 182, 281 are just reflections of each other. So I technically could just put that in cantaloupe color. And then if we would look to the Cavs, if the Cavs were going to win this game, it's their 31st game of the season. 31 is the 11th prime number. They can even the score, get revenge against the Bucks, and become 1-1 head-to-head against Bucks for the season with the win. 31 the 11th prime. They become 1-1 head-to-head against the Bucks. Cavaliers coach, he would get his 131st regular season win for his career. 131, 31, 131, similar numbers. 131 mathematically is the 32nd prime number. It's the Cavs' 31st game, but it's the Bucks' 32nd game of the season. So maybe that could play in favor for the Cavs coach. If the Bucks lose, they would get their 13th loss for the season, a day leaving 13 left in the Gregorian year. So either way, one of these two teams is going to get their 13th loss for the season on a day leaving 13 left in the Gregorian. If the Bucks were to become 19-13, mathematically, 1913, if we pop that in there, is the 293rd prime number. 293 mathematically is the 62nd prime number. 62, 2 and 6, 2, 6, 6, 2. Bucks can get their second loss in a row as Cavs get their 6th win in a row. 2, 6, 6, 2, like 62, 1913, 293rd prime number. 293, the 62nd prime number. Cavaliers would sit on 128 all-time head-to-head losses against the Cavs with a win. And it's a day with 35 date numerology on the Gregorian. 35 sums to 128. So those would be those numbers. And the last game of the night, the Wizards and the Jazz. Let's start with the home team. If the Jazz was going to win this game, they would become 21-8 for a season record with a win on a day leaving 281 left on the Hebrew civil calendar. 281, 218, just anagrams of each other. Jazz could sweep the Wizards for the season 2-0 head-to-head against like 20 on a day with 71 date numerology for the Gregorian, 71 the 20th prime number. It's the Wizards' 31st game for the season. The number 31 written out sums to, or excuse me, 31 written out. That's not what I was talking about. I need to be to 127. 127 is the 31st prime number. It's the Wizards' 31st game. They could become 7-12 for a road record with a loss. It was what I was trying to get to. 31st game. 127 mathematically is the 31st prime number. 127 is just an anagram of 712. That's what the Wizards could become on the road in their 31st game. And that's kind of all I have for the Jazz, really. If the Wizards were going to win this game, it would still deal with the number 31. It's the 31st game for the season. For the Wizards, 31 the 11th prime. Wizards could get revenge and become 1-1 head-to-head against the Jazz for the season with the win, as they sit on 11 losses on the road with the win. So they can get that 1-1, sit on the 11 in their 31st game of the season, 31 the 11th prime number. Jazz would sit on 20 wins for the season with the loss, today with 71 date numerology, the 20th prime number. And then Jazz could become 10-6 for a home record with a loss on a day with 106 date numerology for the Hebrew religious side of the calendar. Wizards would become 51-59 head-to-head all-time against the Jazz with the win, today with 17-51 date numerology on the Gregorian, 59 the 17th prime number. They can get their 51st all-time head-to-head win against the Jazz. Hopefully this video helped. Hopefully this gave you some information to get you started for Saturday. I wish you guys the best of luck on all your games and your picks. I hope you win every single pick that you make. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it.